Fine. Thank you. Yeah, if you ever see me not recording, just blur out, hey, we're recording. Yeah. So, just quickly review. I brought in new site 3. I created a sections page. In the sections page, when I go to literally sections/business, it's just supposed to render the business articles. And then in here, I created a sections route, and I'm importing the sections component. Comes here. This is a functional based component. Setting state to articles, which is initially an empty array. And then I'm rendering the articles list. It's pretty much identical to the home page, except in the use effect, I'm grabbing the section ID from the URL, and I'm passing the section into this fetch articles by section API. So if I come over here, I've got this fetch articles by section API, which takes in an argument of section, and I'm just doing async await to grab all the articles based off of that section, doing response.json and just returning that data. And then once I'm getting it back, I'm getting that response back. I'm just setting the articles to that data. And I'm using an empty array dependency here because I only want this use effect to run once. So, and that's where we're at right now. So let's look through. So we have the sections page. All right. The section page is going to be almost identical to the home page. Cool. So that's kind of what we did. It says section links in the app.nav.js. And the current app.nav.js component accepts a function called handle nav click. The function provided via that prop is called when the nav item section click is linked. So if I click up here, it says national, business, world, opinion. Great. And now, so when we, all right, so ultimately we going to use the functionality to redirect link to the sections page, but there's a better way. We can simply link component in that React router. So it says like, all right, have a nav item, handle prop, and this is the after value. So in this link, we're going to actually just link to that nav items value. So let's go to the nav items right here. Get rid of that, get rid of that. App.nav. All right. So let's see what we can do here. I could icons.click. You can use the nav, is it the link they said from React? So import link from React router. Let's look at what it says, reactrouter.com. And all right. So I guess in place of this bottom, I might use that just because I don't want to change my code that much. I can push this link. What did it say it's supposed to look like? Link before, after.
I think you just put it inside your component, right? Your bottom navigation action component.
Yeah, you can. I just want to see something. App.nav index I. So here we got world. So see, okay, so what's going on here? It says warning React doesn't recognize show label prop. All right, that's just, this is all React material UI. But if you notice up here in the nav bar, it's changing. And that's what we want. But with that, the actual page isn't changing. So when I go to world, it's not updating that. So I'm going to clear that, and we'll get back to the app.nav because I don't want to. So in the sections page, so it looks like it's is it executing? So this use effects isn't running again. So I want to see something. I want to, if I refresh it, it's continuing to execute. But now it's actually changing. But it's still executing. Like it's never stops. So I can just do some conditional logic in here. So I can say if section does not equal the current section or the section ID that's coming from the URL, set the section ID, and I removed that dependency there. So if the section ID from the URL does not match the current section state, then go ahead and update the API request again, or run the API request. So if I go to national, business, and opinion, it works. So I can actually get rid of that show label. Where does it say that? Anyway, it's working, but it doesn't work the way I like it right now because I don't want to use this part. I don't want to use this links thing up here. I want to use what I had initially, this bottom. So I can actually revert back to that, and I'll kind of show you how. Whoop, icon. So what's going on? Nav item is not defined.
Yeah, you changed your key when you remember you set your key to I.
Well, that was for the index. The other.
I'll just go back because it was real easy. All right. So, but I want to use these things. So how can I do that? There's another way you can push to the URL. We don't really cover it, but I'll cover it now. So there's a couple of ways you do it. There's in this on-click event, I want to push something. So let's go here. I just want to, so I'm not even using this. I want to console log this dot props. So it's not even showing it. Oh. So there's no props yet. Oh, here it is. App.nav, it's empty object. Props history push. Oh, is it React router? So React training. Is this it? Cool. So in React Router, I think there's a thing called, so with hooks, we can use a use history hook that you're able to push to various URLs. So instead of using that link tag in the React Router DOM. So is there a way we can do it in class-based components? Let's see. It's called with router. Oh, that's not right. So I can use this with router and have access to that history object in which I'm able to access and push things to different URLs. So if I come up here, instead of using that, I'm going to use the with router. And in the documentation, I need to, when I'm exporting this app.nav, I can say with router and wrap that. And now my console logging this .props. Now here is all that history when I'm in this .props. So now I have that props .push. So I can extract history. You don't need to do this. You can easily just use that link tag. I can do on click. I can just do history dot push sections. Whoop, sections nav item dot value. So when I go here, it's changing up here. I'm going to the national. I'm going to the business. I'm going to opinion, world, national. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Does that just make sure you can use your back and forward button? Is that what we're doing there? Not just what it does, but
yeah, I actually don't know specifically like if that's what it's actually doing. I would think so. I mean, because like the history.
I'm just trying to figure out the context of history. Is it browser history, DOM history, React application history? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I think it's like the browser history type stuff, like the go back, go forward. That's where we're using the push method to push the URL. Yeah. So yeah, this is all just how to interact and grab stuff from like the URL or manipulate it or push stuff for it. You can, as you said, like to go back and go forward. So if I want to see something. Instead of history.push, just for fun, let's do history dot, does it go back? Oh. Oh no, I've never used that before. I just thought maybe. All right. So yeah, that just pushes stuff to the URL. Cool.
I'm wondering if you go from like, so now you're in business, if you go to national and then look at what was console logged for go back, does it point to business?
So I think go back was a method. Oh, cool.
It did go
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, it just executed go back all the way until it didn't have anything to go back to.
Very cool. So somewhere in there is I guess you're pushing your history of all the stuff you've clicked on, and then go back's the method to actually roll that back. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's one way to do it, or you can do it, just use that link. It's a lot easier to just use the link. But if you want to do something different like this, you can. All right, let's hurry up and kind of finish up. So we have the sections. So you can easily do the link. You can use a class component and a functional based component. I use the functional based component. Now we can use the article search abilities. So add a new function in articles API that accepts a search term, constructs a filter object using that search term, and then blah, blah, blah. So in my, where is it? Sections page, article lists, APIs. So we don't no longer need app.nav. So in my article fetch articles, it says if there's filters exist, use this filter query. And then I've got like a quick try and catch. So if there's filters exist, do this. Otherwise, just do basic URL with, I'm using .then here. So that's specifically for the search capabilities. I'm going to come over here, and then it said, did it say in the home page? Yeah. So that's where this is from. In my where title I like filters. As mentioned above, you will want to add a text input to the home page. Okay, we can use that. Let's see what. Whoop. I'll close. Use a form group. All right. Where to go? Here. So we don't want that. Let's use in the home page. So in here, let's add some form. I'm going to use this specific form group. Whoop. So I need to import that from React Strap. It says module not found, cannot revolve React Strap. Did I install it? npm install React Strap. And this form, it's got an input for search articles. Then it's got a button that says submit to actually submit the articles. In here, it just has an on change. So in the example in the curriculum, it just has an on change event handler. So when you type, you can actually update it in real time if you want it to. We're gonna have a handle search method that executes when you click that submit or when you type into the input. Hopefully this works. All right. So if we go to the home page, we have a search articles. When I click submit, I want to be able to search for those articles. So in here, I've got this handle search, takes in an event, event.prevent default. And then I need to grab the search query from this input. So I can do let search query equals event.target.search, because the name of this input is search.value. And now I can literally pretty much copy this, pass it down here. Instead of passing nothing into fetch articles, I can pass in the search query. And then articles, this dot set state articles. So it sets the state to the articles that get returned from my fetch articles API. So I type in a search query, it comes into here. When I submit it, if filters exist, so there is a filter, I've got the filter query, and then I just do a try catch that returns the fetch. I'm just doing a .then JSON, then returning that data. So if we refresh it, if I do, I don't know, Nostrum and click submit, I get those articles back. If I delete it, click enter. So I might want like a clear button, but for right now, I'm just going to keep everything like that. Oh, where am I console logging? So that's that search form. There's quite a bit of repeated code. All right, we can refactor it later. Does anybody have any questions about how oh, go ahead.
I was just say, if we wanted the search to be a little bit more robust, instead of just doing the title, we would have to adjust the filter and the API, or just
you'd have to have adjust the search form that include what you want, like search based on title, search based off of whatever title or something else. So you'd have to have like some selector here. And when you click submit, you would have to send that over here in some type of, like as an object, maybe. That says like,
okay, I could see that. Yeah, where you're splitting it up. I was just thinking if you didn't have that at all and you just did a random search, I guess you could change up the API. In our examples that we've been working with, they got a byline, or they got the abstract, or they got the everything, and so you could technically just search everything, but you'd have to write that in your API, correct?
Yeah, you'd have to have some like, hey, if the search filter has title, run this specific query or this API. But yeah, you can definitely do that. Make it more. That's what I was initially thinking about doing, but then it was going to take a while.
Tom, can you do a search where you'll get nothing back? I want to see what that looks like. Okay, it's just one page. Okay, got it.
Yep. And again, you can probably have some error handling or like some conditional rendering saying like no articles returned. All right.
And that wouldn't pop out. That's not a result from the catch error in your API, is it?
No, just returns 0, an empty array.
Like returning. Okay.